This particular clip has to do with the Supreme Court decision today not to basically decide, per se, whether organizations that are affiliated with religious organizations have the right to not provide contraceptive services underneath their insurance coverages for their individual employees. I got a problem with the argument that was made, and I'm going to play this clip and then I'm going to comment afterwards.
Some breaking news, this from the Supreme Court. This is an unusual decision today. The justice is endorsing a potential compromise on whether religiously affiliated organizations should be exempt from being forced to provide employees with contraceptive coverage through their insurance. NBC's justice correspondent is Pete Williams. He's at the court right now with the latest. Pete, help us understand.
Well, Peter, the background, first of all, when the Obamacare law was passed, the government gave an exemption that said churches themselves, houses of worship, mosques, temples, churches, do not have to provide contraceptive coverage to their employees. This was a case about religious affiliated organizations, seminaries, charities, colleges, and so forth. The government said all they have to do is fill out a form and tell the government they don't want to provide that coverage, and the government would take it from there. The group said even that made them complicit in providing coverage for something that they believed was a sin, and they said it burdened their religious freedom. Today, the Supreme Court declined to answer that question. They said, we're not going to get into the issues involved here. Clearly, the court is evenly divided 4-4. So what it said is we're going to send it back to the lower courts, but it did so with a pretty strong endorsement, Peter, of a potential compromise in which the religious affiliated organizations would, in essence, do nothing. Simply when they made arrangements with their insurance company for coverage, they just wouldn't seek contraceptive coverage. The insurance company then would be responsible for getting that coverage to the employees, and the government couldn't fine the group, couldn't punish them, couldn't say you're violating the law if they did that. But that's not the rule now. That's not the law. It's a Supreme Court basically acting as arbitrator, sort of strongly hinting to the groups that they should come to this compromise on their own.
Pete Williams at the court with really what is an unusual decision today. Pete, thank you.
You bet.
All right. My problem is the word complicit. Now, these various religiously affiliated organizations don't want to be complicit in what they consider to be a sin, i.e. birth control. Okay, if I accept that premise that any action they take as far as allowing or helping their employees, etc., to obtain the same medical coverage, i.e. birth control, that a person who works for a non-religiously affiliated organization has under law, then my question is this. Murder, or the taking of human life, is a sin. Now, I don't care if it's state-sponsored. The death penalty is a sin. So, if any of these people voted for a candidate, whether elected or not, but specifically elected, i.e. a governor or legislator in their state that was pro-death penalty, such as here in Texas, no matter how small, if they voted for that person, they are complicit in murder. Let me say that again. If they voted for a person who is pro-death penalty, their vote helped that person to be elected, and in my opinion, that makes them complicit in the taking of human life, which is a sin. So, if they have a problem with complacency as far as women obtaining medical coverage in order to access birth control coverage, then they should feel just as complicit in voting for a person who was elected that is pro death penalty. Words have meanings, and I constantly say that words have meaning. So when you use the word complicit, complicit cuts across pretty much all the actions that we do, whether they're overt or covert. And again, voting for someone who is pro death penalty and they become an elected official makes you complicit in all of their actions. Whether you agree with them or not, you help them to get into the position that they're in, so you bear some responsibility no matter how small.